Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Google Classroom intro webinar. My name's Larissa.
And I'm Rosie Castle. Hello.
And we're excited to have you here today. We have a lot of people online and getting ready to go. Okay, so we got started with Google Apps or Google Classroom last year when we had a large Chromebook initiative. So with all of these Chromebooks, and you don't need a Chromebook to use Google Classroom, but we have more and more Chromebooks are coming into the district. With the Chromebooks, every student, every teacher, every district employee has a Google account now, a district Google account, and that's what we're using for Google Classroom, both for teachers and for students. Students, that's how they get on the Chromebook, so it's kind of intuitive, but anybody now has this Google account. Just a quick refresher, or if you haven't used it yet, your teacher logon is your ID at RCSD 121, or you can think of 121 because that's our goal of this initiative, one device per child, 121.org, and it's your regular district password. So the same password you log on to a district PC. It is synced, so the minute you change, always change it from your district PC, it will change to Chrome, which is really nice. For students, it's the same thing. So it's their ID and then rcsd121.org. Their default password is their birthday. A teacher can always reset that if they're having any issues with logging on or using their Google account. I'm sorry, Rosie, what would you like to see?
There was a question about how to reset that password.
Oh, okay. You know what we'll do? There's a site and it's called the Student Account Access, and we have directions on how to get that started, how to log on, and how to change student passwords. So we will post that. Okay. I think that would be the easiest way. But it's good to know one other thing while we're on that. If a new student comes into your classroom, you do need to, from outside of the district, you do need to reset that password to get them started because they come in, they have a Google account, but it doesn't have a password yet. All right, at the beginning of the year, all our students do have active passwords on their Google account.
We know it's a lot of these tricky little things to remember. That's why you've got us to help you.
And you don't have to remember all the details, but if you just remember, oh yeah, I can change passwords, then at least you have that knowledge and you can reach out to the how-to part. This whole presentation is kind of to give you an overview, and all the how-tos are in the online component. Okay, we're going to show you a class, but you're going to create a class in the online component. So first, we're going to start out with what is Google Classroom. It's a tool to assign and collect work digitally. It organizes assignments, and it's easy. It facilitates that communication with students, either in the document, which is, or through Google Classroom. The best part about it is it's really managing all that sharing and back and forth of the settings, file naming, and it organizes the student work in their Drive in a classroom folder. It's very easy to use. It's pretty intuitive once you get set up and going. After today, you'll be on your way. It really simplifies and automates that workflow, and we'll show you and bring this back up in a bit. Okay, so if this is you, just think you could be on your phone correcting and commenting on student work. All right, so what is not, Google Classroom? It is not a grade book, okay? We have PowerTeacher for that. It doesn't replace anything. It's not a student management system. It's not a robust learning management system. We have e-learning for that, okay? But we like to say it's a light learning management system. And that may be perfect for you, might be all you need. It's designed to work along with our existing solutions, so PowerSchool, Parent Connect. Okay, so here are your options, and we like to start here just to maybe set the scene. You can just work through the drive. So this is one option. Students create a document or a presentation, share it with you. The teacher gets the email, you can comment, you can open it and print. I mean, just that is huge compared to going around with a flash drive. Okay, so that's one option. Let's take a look at what that looks like, and then we'll come back and get more into Google Classroom. So I have a student log on, so here I am. And I'm actually going to go to a new page. Students on the Chromebooks can press home and go to their drive. And in their drive, they have this red new button. These are all the students' documents in their drive. Okay, and you'll notice they have a classroom folder that was created by Google Classroom. Under New, they can create a Google Doc. Okay, they're in a new Google Doc. And first thing they need to do is click and name it. And this is Joe. I'm Joe in this. So they have to name the Joe student. They still put their heading.
All the normal things you would do if you were doing a writing assignment, you still have to do all those things.
Yes, you do. So then the student can come up to that blue share button and share it with their teacher. You say to find their teacher's name, click on it, and send. Okay, and the student will get the teacher can find it in their shared with me, or they'll get an email in their Gmail. All right, so that's one option. The second option is to use Google Classroom while you're all here. You can create as a teacher an announcement or assignment, or now a question. And the students create or use an attached document that they already created and turn it in through Google Classroom. So that is Google Classroom. You do have a third, the teacher can view it, grade it, return it, all through Google Classroom. You do have a third option, and that is to use an e-learning classroom. And we recommend this for more of the high school, either Google Classroom or e-learning. But e-learning being a robust management system, the teacher, you can create coursework. There are a lot more options for customizing your class. Again, students get content, submit work documents, post discussion. They can still use their Google account through e-learning. So similar to taking an online PD, you just would have your own domain. And there's a 6-hour class you can take for creating content and getting yourself up and going. Okay, so those are the three options. All right, we're going to jump into Google Classroom as a student, and after I'll ask you to post something you noticed or wonder about the student view.
We had a few latecomers come in, but it looks like they did pretty much catch up with us, and so I'm glad to see that they made it.
Excellent. All right, so I'm on as Joe. Joe is a student, and he's going to go to the on the student landing page, Google Classroom. And the first time Joe logs in, he's not going to see his classes, okay? If your student has in a Google Classroom, it may look like this. The first time it's going to be a picture, and they will have to just scroll down, or it pops up and they choose their role as a student. And they get used to that pretty well, but just know the first time a student comes in, and we have documentation on that in the class. So I'm going to go into my class, and I can see that I have two teachers, Useda and Castle, and it's kind of like a Facebook stream, okay? On this stream, that's where everything happens. The newest post goes to the top. So right here at the top, I can see this is an announcement, okay? There's nothing for me to turn in. It's just something a teacher wants to get out there to me. It could be links. So this one is sloth researcher and cannabis scientist. So if I click on it, it opens in a new tab, and I come back, click on the link below, read the interview, and answer the questions in your journal. Okay, so there's nothing more I'm doing in Google Classroom. A lot of people like to put, this is a great way to get out links. That is an announcement. And I can scroll down, I can see that this one has links to different websites and a YouTube video. Okay, I see this assignment has a comment. So this is turned on for me, and I can leave a comment on any assignment or announcement.
Now, you know, Larissa, lots of times teachers usually chime in about now and say, do we have to leave the comments on?
Exactly. No, you can turn the comments off. So usually the first time if I introduce Google Classroom, you can turn them off. And so don't worry about that. That's something you can do from the teacher side. So let's see, here is an assignment. Okay, I can tell it has a due date, and I'm going to actually click on the assignment to see everything. So I have my learning targets. I can write an argument to support claims of substantive text and topics and text. And the directions. State an object that best represents you.
That sounds interesting.
I know. I'm trying to think, what are you going to be, Rosie?
Yeah, what are we going to pick?
You will then support your claim with reasoning and evidence to provide a strong argument. This essay is a way of introducing yourself. Okay, so it's nice to give a lot of information here, the learning targets and the directions, and then the actual steps. So from here, a student can go ahead and create the doc. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
That's really nice. I didn't even have to put anything in there for them.
Exactly. The teacher doesn't have to create anything.
Yeah.
If a student had already created something, they can add it here to an assignment. So it creates the Google Doc, and I'm going to click on it and open it. And what's nice is you'll see, remember last time we had to spend all that time naming our assignment or our document. Here it already does it for the student. So they're still...
You know, when I look at that title that it named that document, it named it exactly the same as what the assignment was.
Wait, how much time does that take to get done?
And it put the name of the student right there into that file name. That's very nice.
Okay, so when a student is done writing, they can start typing, and when they're done, they now have a turn in button at the top. So that turn in button, when they're ready, and I'm going to turn it in early for this one. I'm going to go ahead and turn it in just so we can look at it, and then turn it in again within Google Classroom. And that is changing all that back-end sharing to submit it to my teacher. As a student right now, I've turned it in, so I can't keep working on it. If I go back to it, I'm going to close this one. If I go back to it, I'm now view only. Okay, so if a student gets turn in happy, or if they turn it in too early, they can actually unsubmit it. So if you have a student that isn't able to write, they can just unsubmit it and then keep typing and turn it in again. So that's a nice thing to know from the beginning. They can unsubmit it. Okay, so we've turned that in, and I'm going to come back out. So we've looked at an announcement, which doesn't have a due date, and then an assignment. And let's look what else is on this stream. So from here, you will have your due dates. If you view all, it will jump to your to-do list, okay, for all of your classes. Or if you want just to look at one class, you can look at one class. What's nice, it is like a to-do list for students. It only shows, this was due next week, so it only shows items that are due this week. And then the done would be the completed items. Okay, and if I click on, I'm going to click back on this classroom menu and go back down to get back to the class.
You know, I really hope they're noticing all these things that are here on the student side. So you've gone through the stream so far.
And we're going to move on to the classmates. So from here, they'll see all the other students in the class. Okay. And then the about, this is a nice place where the teacher can put links for the student, and these aren't going to change order. So something like your textbook that is always the same link, you can add here. And this is where I can see my teachers. This is actually really important, this Google Drive folder. So that's the name of this class. Good. So again, all of this is created, is stored in the student's drive. So you know when we looked at using the Drive and Google Classroom as options, Google Classroom is using that drive. And I'm going to click here to show you. So we're going back to that student drive, and I can see that there's a classroom folder. So if I click on Classroom, I can see all the different classes I'm in. And then for each class, this would be the work that I did. So it's really, as a student moves forward, it's organized their class and their classwork. They'll have that for them. It doesn't go anywhere. It stays in their drive.
Which we feel like is very important, that you as the teacher and then as the student, they really understand that this work and these folders are being stored someplace for them. It's just automating this for them.
Exactly. It's doing all of that sharing and back-end work. So when you're ready to get information to your students or get a document, or get links, you are ready for Google Classroom, that's for sure.
Because Google Classroom is trying to focus more on the education side of it, the student work, the creation part of it, instead of having to worry about all that sharing and all that back and forth.
You get right down to it, huh?
Exactly.
Uh-oh, more work. Also here, there is an integration with Google Calendar. So I'm just going to click on the view in Calendar, and this will show the student their calendar. And I'm going to flip. Oh, I turned in that next assignment, but you can see how an assignment would look. Now I'm kind of flipping around on the left-hand side, and you'll get used to this, but this the classroom menu, the main menu, or the hot dogs up here, the lines, if you click on that, and you click on classes, you will see all of your classes, okay, as a student. This is that plus where if you have a student joined by a code, they will join there. And then they can click on the name of the class to get back into it, or they can click down on the class. All right, so now what did you notice and wonder? All right, if you could post in the chat, that would be great. And I'm going to sign off for a minute while you do that. All right, good. We had some posts and a few more coming in. So we're gonna, yes, Rosie, what did you see over there?
Someone is asking about, because we are working in Google Classroom, what if you're working with a different file type that's not Google?
Good question. Like, can they post something? Yes, they can, but they are not going to be able to work in it.
Like a PDF, like a Word document, like a PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. So those are great for the students to view if they're within Google Classroom. They can view your PowerPoint, they can view your PDF. But when we get into it, if you want them to type in it, you're going to want to use the Google Docs, the Google Slides. Anything to add to that, Rosie?
Lots of people have mentioned how it seems very clean, very similar to other social media like Facebook, clutter-free, can make your life much easier.
Okay, let's hope so. I think so.
Yeah.
We're sold. We drink the Google Kool-Aid, right?
Somebody is mentioning something about the apps, but we're not going to give it away.
Okay, we'll get there. So we'll now look at the teacher view. So after, we'll ask you to post a difference between the student and the teacher view. So I'm going to flip over to, now this is the teacher view. And you're going to want to bookmark your classroom.google.com, okay, when you first go in. And you can just go to that bookmark then each time. I have it bookmarked here. So as far as the teacher side, we have the stream. It's pretty much looks the same here, but we see this nice plus on the lower right-hand side. And actually, before I get that, I'm going to start at the top. There are a ton. You can customize the look and feel. I had a picture of Rosie and I here to shock Rosie when we started today, and I took it down. But you can upload a photo of your class. You can change that up. You can put something personal in there, your cat, or something to do with the school. You can also select a theme like we have, and there are a lot of themes to choose from. In the last update, they have even more. So you got to have fun with it, right? So that kind of helps students to remember your class, or kind of look forward to what crazy thing you've posted. But on this plus is where everything happens. So when you click on the plus, you're going to see reuse a post, which is very nice. This is a new feature. And if you have a recurring post or posted something in another classroom, you can just use this and find it and post. Create a question is also new, and it's very cool. You can create a question where students answer and the whole class sees their answers, so kind of like a discussion board, or more like a check for understanding where you ask them to post and it's private back to you. So it could be a ticket out the door or just a check. But what we're going to focus on is an announcement and an assignment. So when you click on either of these, it comes up, and we usually number ours. So I'm gonna, I think we're on 15. And you have your title, you have your space where you can put your learning targets and your instructions, due date, and then down here is all the media links. So you can put any attachment. You can attach those PDFs or PowerPoints. They're not going to be able to write in them. The Word document, they can view them. Anything from your Google Drive, YouTube, and other links. What's nice is you can post, if you're an English teacher, high school English teacher, you can post to all 3 of your sections at once. And then to click here is an assign. This triangle right next to this drop down, you can save anything as a draft, which works really well for co-teachers or planning ahead. So all those drafts are just right here. And you can come in and say, I set something up, can you check out the assignment? Or you can just start planning ahead. That has been a really nice addition to Google Classroom. Okay. The teacher has a to-do list too on the left. If you click view all, it's work to be reviewed and then work to view. So you can see as work is coming in. And then again to the main menu and click back on your class to get back into your class. As a teacher, you can be a teacher or a student. So we have a Google Classroom collegially. I can be a student, or I can also teach classes, and those are all on that left side. So that's the stream. It does give me my class code here, and we're going to look at that again when we go to the Students tab. One last thing, whenever you see these 3 dots, that is giving you more options. So you can edit or delete from here. Okay, and this is new too. This move to the top is a nice feature also. Okay, so that's the stream. The students, so we had some comments. Okay, I need some help with this. If students, when they comment on the stream, as a teacher, you can delete them or mute your student. Okay, you can also turn off this right to even post. So that's under the Students tab. You can do this for the whole class or for individual students. If you click on those students, or if you click here for all of your students, you can put that only the teacher can post or comment, okay? If you kind of want to lock it down in the beginning, and then as you talk about digital citizenship, appropriate comments, what it's there for, you can open that up. You can also turn it on and off, which is a nice feature. This is the class code where you can give this to your students to join your class. They only join one time. Okay, so this is that student tab, and the about tab is where you would invite teachers. So if you have a co-teacher, if you're working with a group, you can invite teachers here. Again, you can put a lot in this about. You can add materials here for your class. And this is the name of your classroom in your drive. Okay. So one last thing is we're going to come up to this hot dogs or that menu. And when you click on classes, you'll see all of your classes. So you may have classes that you created last year. I'm trying to find one that here. If you click, you can archive a class if you no longer use that class. Okay, your students have these same options. Okay, they would just be able to unenroll to get themselves out of a class. And
So what if I have already archived a class and I need to get it
back?
Yeah.
Yeah, so nothing disappears. If you scroll all the way down, there is an archived classes, and you click there and you can get your class, you can reinstate your class. And if I click on those dots, I can restore it. Okay, so you don't have to be afraid to archive a class. Okay, so we're back here, and let's see what you think. All right, so leave us a post in the webinar chat about a difference that you notice. Good. I hope you're reading the posts, and it sounds like we have some good posts. There was a question about when a teacher or when a student turns in. So again, once a student, and actually this is a good timing because we're going to go look at the assignment and the work that was turned in. So why don't we go there and we'll talk about that. Anything else you want to bring up, you noticed?
I think a couple of people have asked about storage space in the Google Drive.
Okay.
You're in Google Apps for Education, and because this is not a private or personal Google account, your Google Drive, your storage space is unlimited. So you don't have to worry about what you're creating and how much you're storing. So we're asking you to not like go hog wild, but on the other hand, we are saying go out there, be creative, and have fun with your students.
Nice. It's nice to know that when you're not always getting like the close to full and you have to delete things. So let's jump, and here I see the assignment that we set up, and I see one person has turned it in. So once your students have turned in items to you, you can just click on the announcement or click on the assignment and it goes to this page. Okay, you'll see they'll sort on the left-hand side who is done and then your other students. And when you click on a student, so I'm going to click on Joe, it brings up Joe's information on the right, any of the files that he attached. So I can go ahead and open this up. And again, from inside Google Docs, I can leave specific comments. And a lot of teachers really like using this for the editing process. Pull the reader in with your intro and also get started. So you can leave those comments here and then come back, and when you're done, you still have the assignment. You can grade it, so I can give them a 0 or not grade it. See, once I grade it, it checks it here. And so the student still needs to work. So I'm going to say, please, I can leave a comment, please complete. Post that for the student. And I see that it's already checked. So I want to return it to the student so they can keep working on it. And there's that button up at the top, return. And I'm going to return again.
I like that instant feedback that you can give your kids, that lots of times our kids weren't getting that digital instant feedback, where lots of times we would have to sit down and talk to them, and we can just do this so instantaneous now.
And they love it. They love getting that quick feedback.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so that is how it looks when you go into an assignment. You can change the point value. There is a drop down usually, or you can change it at any time if you're on a 9-point or a 4-point rubric. Okay, and it will update that assignment. Okay, so I'm going to come back out of it. And that is looking at an assignment. Okay, so we went over this a little bit before, but in the online component, you're going to be asked to do a lot of these how-tos. In an assignment, you can add a Word document or a PDF, but students cannot type in an attached Word doc or PDF. We just want to really clarify that. You can attach them to view. In the intermediate level class, the next class, we spend a lot of time on adding assignments from your drive, so a Google Doc that they can write on, and how you can post that. So you're welcome to do that in the intro. We really suggest keeping it really simple and just posting an assignment, having the students create that doc right within the assignment. All right, so, oh, I'm so excited. This is the best part. You have to download all the apps if you haven't on either your iPhone or your Droid, your smartphone. Definitely the Classroom app keeps getting updated. It's very functional. It's not, you can't do everything, but you can do a lot. You can look at your, you can comment, you can look at student work. You're also going to want to download the Drive, Google Docs, Google Slides, the whole Google suite of apps. So right now I am going to my phone because I was at a school earlier today. And I'm just going to post something and then we'll see. So you can post from your phone. And I might wait and do this because I thought I had set it up, but it's not set up. So I'll show you that at the end. But it's a really nice feature of Google Classroom. And again, we've been talking about updates, but it's amazing how fast Google listens to people and updates. Okay, so let me do this. I'm on my phone right now.
We have seen over this past year that in working with this Google Classroom app on our iPads and on our smartphones, the updates and the changes that Google has made has been outstanding. They started with just being able to see what was going on in the classroom to where you could, now you can make comments to your students' work. You can not just make an announcement, now you can make your assignments. I mean, it has gotten really nice, all the different things that you can do in Google Classroom on your smart devices. So
Rosie, I thought I was being so cute because I was in a classroom today and I got a video of a student telling what she likes about Google Classroom. Oh, there it goes. Usually I post a selfie of Rosie and I, which goes much faster. So
so now Larissa is she's trying to top herself.
Right, right. So I'm going to post that and it'll probably take a minute, so we'll come back to it. So I'm going to come back to the class.
I know they're all just sitting there waiting.
Oh, good.
Can't wait.
So I just did that really quick. It was on my phone and I can click. Oh, and it's still processing. So, but you could, if you see anything, a performance, pictures, you can quickly take pictures and video and post it to your Google Classroom.
Because there were some of them down in the stream, because as you were scrolling.
Oh, you're right.
That was a picture that we had posted from one of our webinars. That was where Larissa just taken a picture. Now, Larissa, some people have asked in the chat about whenever students do work or they submit something, do they have to come back into their classroom to check and see if work is turned in, or do they get notifications?
They do have to come back, and that's a good point. So I'm going to quick flip to a student view. There's a couple of places, but they can see their work and see done up here, their grade. When they turn it in, the teacher does, if they leave a comment, you can turn on your notifications and you'll probably get an email of any comments the other way around. But I think there's going to be some updates regarding that back and forth. So some of that, they have to to let you know or leave a comment.
So one of the ways around that is, and I do believe that your notifications is always on. It's defaulted to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the ways you could do that in your classroom is when your students are turning in their work, always have them make a comment.
Right. Yes. And then you'll see when they submit it like the second time.
Right. So that way you're always getting a notification.
Okay. So we talked about the apps. And just to review one last time, so we talked about you can share files, just use the drive. So really for any grade, kind of for teachers just starting with the Google Apps, getting started, it's a good place. You have your option of using Google Classroom, which you're going to set up your classroom and do a post for an announcement and an assignment within the online component of this class. We suggest that for grades 3 through 12. And then you can have your own class in e-learning, and that is more teacher setup. There is a class to take, and that's suggested for grades 7 through 12. So you have some options. All right, well, we're doing pretty good. We would like you just to post a ticket out the door. And one thing you learned or one question you have. One also, we are highly suggesting that you get started just to create your class to make sure you're verified and ready to go in Google Classroom. So you can make your post, but then if you can just continue on and create your class, or definitely do that tomorrow before the long weekend. We want to make sure that everybody can create a class. So over the weekend, you're set to, when you have some time, to work further in the class.